Sexting, hey, we know it happens, sending sexually explicit materials through the internet to somebody else. And we know that it's not allowed with regard to minors. But who is a minor? Well, it takes us to this week's case. Involves a man, Sameer Thakar, and he lived in Indiana. He was over 18 years of age. He had a relationship with a woman who was in Oregon, and she was 16 years of age. And at one point in time, he sent some very sexually explicit materials to this young lady, and, well, somehow the authorities became aware of it. And he was prosecuted for sending sexually explicit materials, materials that would be harmful to a minor, Well, the case went forward, And as he was being prosecuted, on behalf of him, his lawyers said, you know what, here in Indiana, you can give consent to engage in sexual conduct at age 16. This woman was 16 years of age. Therefore, for the purposes of sexual activity, she was someone who is treated like an adult in Indiana law. Since she is treated like an adult in Indiana law with regard to sexual activity, in this instance, sending sexually explicit materials to her really would not be violative of any real law. Or if it is, well, then we have a disconnect between that law that is finding her a minor, in which if she receives sexually explicit materials, that would be wrong, and that law that says she isn't a minor at age 16 and she can engage in sexual conduct. So which is it? Is she a minor or isn't she a minor? Well, the case went forward, and it found its way through the Indiana court system, and eventually was decided on appeal. And there the court heard the various arguments, and the court said, yes, there appears to be a contradiction in the law with regard to how a minor is defined. Someone who is 16 years of age can engage in sexual conduct. They can give their consent to do so. But someone who is 16 years of age is a minor with regard to receiving sexually explicit materials, and they can't receive those materials, or the guy or gal that sends those materials is considered to be disseminating materials that are harmful to a minor. We understand there seems to be this disconnect. But you know what? While this disconnect exists, the legislature here in Indiana has the ability to make this policy decision and decide that for one purpose, engaging in sexual activity, 16 is the majority, or at least is someone who can provide consent. And with regard to receipt of things that are sexually explicit, well, the legislature has said that can't happen to someone who is under 18 years of age. And that if it is happening, if someone is sending sexually explicit material to that person, well, the individual who originated that sexually explicit material is, in fact, guilty of disseminating materials harmful to a minor. Okay, well, what do we learn from this case? What we learn from this case is that sometimes the law, as we saw here, will define an adult with regard to providing consent to sexual activity differently than they will define an adult with regard to receiving sexually explicit materials. Does it seem to be a little illogical? Yes, it does. But is it something the legislature can do? Well, as we see here, yes, it is. Okay, we're bringing cases every week so you understand how the law works. I'm David Allen.